Hi, Chris Burnett here, Green Dragon, Tai Chi and Qigong. And today I wanted to share a little something from a series of workshops that I used to do for high school kids. And I was with a group called the You Can, You Will Foundation, which did a lot of mindful practices. And this series was called Connected Awareness. So, connected awareness to me defines what Tai Chi is. I would have them to physically perform the energies, in other words, with movement. So, with the ward off, I would have them doing the ward off, rolling back, G, pressing, then on, pushing. And then I would talk about things like being centered and being balanced and being rooted. And I would ask the kids, how do they think that this could change or enhance their life? What use could they get out of this in their everyday life? How can you use the theory or the concept of warding off? How can you use the concept of rolling back or redirecting the energy around you? So if you're not familiar with these energies, warding off is that kind of expanding, but it's also a structure. It's also, part of it is also being rooted and solid or firm. Think of rollback energy. It's redirecting an energy around you, or being able to control the flow of an energy. We think of press. It's two energies coming together. So the energy in my arms converge into one point to cause a reaction. I also talked about was clear-minded, being mindful, having a clear mind, being in the flow, being able to adjust and change, right? And in Tai Chi, we learn what we call Ting Jin, or listening energy. And with listening energy, we're not necessarily listening with the ears, we're listening with our body, our sensitivity, so that when people touch us or put force upon us, we can tell the intensity of that force, the direction of that force, and adjust the body accordingly. Now that's with dealing with an opponent. We can also use Ting Jin within ourselves to feel what's going on in our bodies, to feel if there's tension in the body, how can we relax it? We tune into our breath, to our heartbeat, and then eventually into the internal energies that power the body. Being rooted and being centered. Not jumping to conclusions or jump into action. Take the time to think, be rooted, be centered, be calm. Having self-confidence in your course or your stance or your belief. You have to believe in yourself. A lot of times, people don't believe in you. You're the only one who knows what you can do. You're the only one who has to know what you can do. Okay? So in a way, that warding off is kind of like creating a space around you, that stance of confidence where nothing's going to sway you easily because you're centered. Clear-minded and mindfulness. I've got being present, not missing the moments in life, being conscious of your surroundings. So if I was to stand here for a second and be conscious of my surroundings, there's a great breeze going. It's very light. It's nice and warm. Nature is awake. So this is that time of yin changing into yang. The trees are budding. The birds are twerping. Animals are out. It's just a great day. So to be able to not be so caught up in the mind with occupation of thoughts in terms of past or the future, but being in that present moment, being able to observe life, not missing the moments in life. So that's a part of being clear-minded and having mindfulness. The next one, roll back, being able to direct energies in the actual physical sense. If there's an incoming force, I join with it and turn it using my center, allowing it not to penetrate or affect my center. So just think if there's a verbal attack or somebody who's sending negative energy towards you, allowing it to not penetrate you. Let it roll around you, almost like oil and water that don't mix. Don't let it affect you. Let it roll around you, redirect it. So on the sheet I've got physically or verbally redirecting attacks or situations, leading them to emptiness, not internalizing or taking in their energy. Responding, but not reacting. Balance. So one of the things that in these workshops that I talk about is balance. We do a lot of single-legged stances in our Tai Chi forms, as well as our practice, our warm-ups, things like that. So how can balance affect your life? Not only in a literal sense, but in the sense of the concept of balance, right? So a lot of people probably already have the answer to this. But we think about balancing the things in our life, right? Too much of one thing is never good. So suppose I like to lift weights. Lifting weights too much without rest will destroy my body, right? And too much rest without any form of exercise will also destroy my body. It will just simply deteriorate, right? So let's say I like to read a lot of books. If I like to sit and read books all day, that's very great for the mind. But what am I doing for my body? So I probably need to get up, maybe walk around the block, do some things, maybe go in the yard, work the land, gardening, whatever. Balance, right? They say all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, or all play and no work makes an idiot, all right? I didn't say that. Balance, not overextending in any direction or undertaking. So balance is not overextending. So if I'm in a stance and I'm overextending, I'm not balanced. I can easily be pulled out. Same thing mentally and with tasks. If I'm overextending my life into one area, I can easily be pulled out of balance or out of alignment with the other things in my life, with my family, with my friends, to be pulled out of a good relationship. The next thing I talk about is flow. So in our Tai Chi, we want to be able to flow from one movement to the other. Flow. I'm just going to read this one. I'm pretty sure people have their ideas about what flow can mean in their lives, but it means being able to adjust and change, right? When life changes, we have to be flexible, not being stubborn, being open-minded to others' views and being open-minded to circumstances. Now that's very great as martial artists. Right? Suppose I'm sparring with somebody or even using it in a self-defense situation, and if I'm trying to do a movement that just isn't working and my opponent is doing something else, but in my mind I'm like, okay, I need to strike here or do whatever, push, I want to take this person down, but it's not working. In Tai Chi, we need to listen to our partner, our opponent. We need to deal with the situation at hand. So instead of imposing our thoughts and ideas and our wants, what technique I want to do because I'm good at it, I need to deal accordingly to what's going on in the situation. I need to be able to adapt and flow and be able to deal with it in that manner. The same thing with life, right? I may want to do certain things, but life is dictating that there are certain things that I have to do. Change is a constant in life, so as things change in life, I need to be able to go with the flow in that and try not to fight it. Otherwise, you're going to have a very hard life. Instead of having a negative attitude and trying to say, well, I want things this way, it has to be this way, when certainly life is imposing other things upon you, then you need to say, okay, how can I make the best out of this situation? This is how it is. This is the reality. So what can I do now in this present moment to make this work out for the best, not only for me, but for everybody involved? So that's a good way to think about flowing and being able to adapt and change. Last one on the list, listening energy, Ting Jin. So as I mentioned in Tai Chi, we want to listen to, if somebody's pushing on my arm, they may be pushing very softly or hard, it doesn't matter. But I need to not only be able to recognize the direction of that energy and the flow of it, but I listen so that I can know what it is, so that I can redirect it or change it. For Tai Chi practitioners, this is pretty common knowledge. But in order to have that, I need to listen. I need to be able to feel inside of my body, inside of their bodies, and know what's going on. So we're going to take that listening into another sense. We're going to take it into the literal sense of listening with the ears. And we're going to say actively listening. Actively listening. So when people are talking, a lot of times we're just waiting for them to be done because we have this thought in our head, our response. And once we have our response, then we kind of start tuning them out just so we can remember our response, right? So that's not really actively listening, and we're all guilty of it. Not only being able to hear what everybody's saying, but when you listen intently, you can feel the motivation behind their words. You can feel the emotion or the energy. Listening actively without waiting to answer or interrupt is an important social quality. So I want to ask you, how many friends do you have who are good listeners? And are you yourself a good listener? Just think about that one. Good listening will help improve your relationships. It will help enhance the quality of your conversations, and you may just learn something that obviously you wouldn't learn if you weren't listening. You may learn something about the people around you, and you may learn something about yourself. So thanks for letting me share this connected awareness mini-series workshop, some of the ideas here, and hopefully they'll give you some ideas or some ways to think as we go through life. Until next time,